Boom. Up, 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 ye mighty race. You can accomplish what you will. Yes, people. Yes, people. People. So this is Balance Up TV. All right. Yeah, this is Balance Up TV. One of the first series of installments in the series. You know what I mean? Or whatever, or the channel, or whatever you want to call it. Right. Um, Not gonna really touch on too much today. You know what I mean? I just want to keep the thing active because I haven't since I started it. A lot of different things be happening in between time and in the meantime. So, but just look forward because this week coming up, we're gonna have start our interviews and things of that nature, right? And like I said, it's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world globally on many different levels. There's certain religious activities. There's certain, I mean, everything from business, like wars and just you name it. You know what I mean? So, but we're going to focus on things that are tangible, for the people right now that they can actually use in their day-to-day living. So we're going to have some health experts. We're going to have experts in insurance. We're going to have experts in business. We're going to have experts in real estate. And we're also going to have like live performances by a variety of different types of artists. They'll be performing live right here. So it's going to be really interesting, people. You know what I mean? As we kick off this week, bless up for the new year, for the true year. We plan to blast off like a nuclear. All right. Yeah. So Balance Up TV is up and running, people. We're gonna make it happen. Because the people keep saying, yo, you should do a channel. You should do a channel. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, well, let me shoot my shot. You know what I mean? And we're gonna have some roundtable discussions, things of that nature. I do need to get the subscriptions up so I can go live, and the importance of going live is that people can call in from different parts of the world, and to even record live right now, I gotta have 100 subscribers. So I need to get the subscribers up, people. So just go ahead and subscribe to the channel and just be patient, while we build. Yeah. In the meantime, TikTok, TikTok, people, is on pause right now, and a lot of what do you call it, anxiety and things of that nature is happening because of the pause in TikTok. Because a lot of people make a serious living off of the TikTok thing. So I don't knock it at all. It was a great source of income for many people. Everybody was not up there doing negative things. You know what I mean? I do understand that there's politics at play as to why they want to shut it down. America wants to control it, and they're like, yo, we need our cut. And the only way we can get our proper cut is we got to control it. And that also means controlling the information and things of that nature, controlling the algorithm of it. And there's too many people getting rich off of TikTok that was not into the, what do you call it? They don't fit the mold of the robotic worker. You go to school, get a good education, get a job, and become a part of the workforce. So people were really seeing a lot of, independence, of the system. Even though I always say, we are all interdependent when it come on to real life, but we're just talking about independence, like just being outside of the system, of things like the regular 9 to 5. So that is an issue, to the great America. You understand? They're not getting their portion. You understand? And there's some other politics involved or whatever. But like I said, we'll be talking about and reasoning on a lot of different things. As we know, tomorrow is the celebrated uh, Earth Day of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You understand? His father was great as well, so senior. But we're talking about the junior, the one that we all know, and everything, So we give thanks for that ancestor. He was a great man. His works is still being studied and revered and marveled at by the entire world. So, we give thanks for, his life, and we give thanks for his lessons. Also, what's happening? They're championing Biden at this late hour to give the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey a presidential pardon. As you know, he was set up back in the day with some phony charges, of fraud or whatever the case is, and he has a criminal record here in the States. Um, all while being a national hero of Jamaica at the same time. You understand? And I think the Jamaican government should also put pressure on the U.S. to, let's just, get rid of that stigma off of the name of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He doesn't deserve that, to go out in history and to have fraud as a part of his legacy, when we know that, as usual, especially during those times, that they did whatever they had to do to get rid of black revolutionaries, even set them up on charges or just outright kill them, or, whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever they got to do to stop the message, or whatever the case is. But as the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, look for him in the storm, in the whirlwind. You know what I mean? What a powerful, great leader he is. And I'm going to say is in the present tense, because he's still raising the consciousness of people globally. When you study the philosophy of Marcus Garvey, uh, the opinions and philosophy of Marcus Garvey, you'll understand that everything that he said then is even more relevant now, today. So we honor him as another great one. Also, people, while we're honoring, we always got to keep the thing balanced. So we also want to honor, great warrior empresses like, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Sojourner Truth, Queen Mother Moore, all of our great empresses, yeah, that did great works. What's my lady? Yo, Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer. Let me tell you, Fannie Lou Hamer. If you never listen to her speeches, one of her most popular and famous speeches is when she said, how did it go? She said, "You can pray and pray until you faint, but if you don't get up and do something, nothing is happening." You understand what I'm saying? So Fannie Lou Hamer, you know, that's and one of my personal favorites, the Honorable Winnie Mandela. All right, Winnie Mandela was like, one of the greatest, revolutionaries that ever existed. Male or female, she's up there. She's up there. You understand? She's up there. Who did I have in mind? Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about too quickly is that Ibrahim Traore, who's following in the line of Thomas, the great Thomas Sankara, right? Ibrahim Traore is a phenomenal leader of Burkina Faso, which Thomas Sankara actually coined as the land of the upright people. That is what Burkina Faso translates to, the land of the upright people, which I think is an amazing statement within itself. It's showing that when you say upright, that is it has a deeper implication, even more deeper than uh, the land of the good people, or the land of the righteous people, or so on and so forth. He said the land of the upright people. You understand? The great Thomas Sankara. And you should study these people. You should study these people. Ibrahim Traore is there now. He's the president there now of Burkina Faso, and I'm hoping that the rest of Africa would take his example because he is certainly one of the great selfless human beings that it appears, attends to um, give everything back to the people, give the resources and the land back to the rightful owners, and to change and uplift the society, uh, you know, as a whole. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's time, and he's a very fierce uh, warrior. You understand? Not bowing and not bowing down and to any European colonizers, specifically the one that he's dealing with specifically, even though he's dealing with all of them, but some directly, some indirectly, but France in particular. And did you know that, you know, like 85 to 90% of France's entire economy, that means all of their wealth, 85 to 90% of it comes from that one place in Africa, that one place, Burkina Faso, right there. Them stealing and, the natural resources of that land has propped them up all of these years. And that's why they are going to fight, with everything that they have to get rid of this guy, the great Ibrahim Traore, right? They're going to do everything. They want to try to poison him. They want to try to assassinate him by any means necessary. You see what I mean? Because he is uh, an example of what they do not want in Africa. It's just like a wildfire, like the fires out in California, right? It just take one little spark, and next thing you know, you got a big old, you know, uh, fire that's leaving nothing but devastation in its wake. That is how they feel about black revolutionaries, African revolutionaries. They do not want it to spark because they do not want it to catch a fire. You understand? Bob Marley even did a whole album, Catch a Fire. You understand? Yeah. Slave driver, your tables is turned. Catch a fire. You're going to get burned. You understand what I'm saying? So, yes, people. But that is it. I just wanted to touch bases real quick and just say, hey, please and thank you. Subscribe to the channel. Look forward to the upcoming interviews and things of that nature. We're going to try to cover the whole gambit of things that, because we're talking to real people in real time about real things. You know what I mean? That affects our day-to-day living, So we want to have, and we're going to talk to just the regular people, because we need to know how people are thinking out here, why they're thinking a particular way, why they're moving a particular way. All of these things are necessary for growth, right? And we also have to deal with the mental health. You understand? Yeah, we definitely have to deal with mental health. And we also want to deal with the division, like this whole Fat Joe and the so-called FBA. First of all, FBA, Foundational Black American, which is a legacy thing. It's not a thing where somebody controls it or this is the head of the FBA. It's nothing like that. It's just a term. It's just a term to identify foundational Black Americans whose family history and ties lies with the land, and it's not an extension necessarily of, like how well, let's leave that part alone. The bottom line is, Fat Joe has stirred up a lot of controversy, people, with this whole Puerto Ricans and the hip hop thing, which is like a big distraction because there's bigger fish to fry, as they say. That's a little small thing, sidebar. But I do want to caution that a lot of times you see Black Americans throughout history here in this country has never been allowed to lay claim to the things that they created. You know, that's always been a thing. It's like everybody is against Black Americans having anything of their own to say, hey, Black Americans built this. And I don't know why that is. You know, even other Black counterparts, you know, in the Caribbean and on the continent of Africa, so on and so forth. It seems like everyone has a problem with Black Americans claiming things that they actually created. And I would say, you know, can you imagine if you removed all of the contributions that Black Americans have made to the world, what do you have? Because most of the world are actually living Black American culture, whether you realize it or not. You know, whether you're in the Caribbean, most of the world are living Black American culture. You know, all of the music that we hear are subgenres of the original thing that Black Americans created. And that's whether you're talking about jazz, blues, soul music, R&B, hip hop, what do you call it, disco, uh, country music, uh, like all of these different musics and everything, all of these other forms of music, you can put them in one of those categories that were actually created and developed. Rock and roll, heavy metal, what they call heavy metal, which was Jimi Hendrix, so on and so forth. You can put these things in, you can put all these other forms of music in one category or another, and you would see that the original music that it sprung from, it was African American music, you know, Black American music. And I don't know why people would have a problem with that. You know, whether you're from the Caribbean, whether you're from the continent of Africa, whether you're from, I don't know why people would really have a problem with that. Like, what's the big deal? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Just, it's like people want to say Black Americans don't have any culture while they're living the culture. That's what I thought was kind of an oxymoron. Like, I thought it was kind of dumb actually for Busta Rhymes to say Black Americans don't have a culture when that's what he's living and been living. You know, he grew up in Black American culture. Everything about him is representative of Black American culture. You understand? That's just the reality, and it's not to be, you know, this way or that way or whatever. We just got to talk the facts, people. You know what I mean? We can't act like we don't know what the realities are. Everyone deserves their own. And I'll tell you something. The only other place on the planet that has a music that is indigenous to itself, that it created, that is worldwide and global. There's only one other place that did that outside of Black America. And that is Jamaica with reggae music. That is it. That is it. Reggae music is the only other music where no matter where you go on the planet, you can hear reggae music playing in all different forms, in its original form and in derivatives of it, and so on and so forth. And other genres of music were created off of reggae, like reggaeton and so on and so forth. You know, and then you look at these other cultures, you'll get to realize that um, everybody follows what Black Americans do. That's the reality. Even in the Latin culture, you see they have Latin trap, they have Latin, what they call it, Chicano music. They have Latin. What's that stuff they was doing? Them young kids. Oh gosh, what is that? What is that music? Damn, I can't remember the name of that music, but the that music that's kind of like demonic. They talking about, you know, all kind of crazy stuff or whatever, um, with ops and all that type of thing. You know what I mean? Whatever that music is called, it's not trap. It's gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Drill music, like drill music and all of that kind of stuff. They have their version of drill music. They have their version of R&B. They have their version, you know, like that's what it is. And then in the Caribbean, remember now, what did Beres Hammond say? He said, remember the songs that used to make you rock away. These are the songs that those guys who are now elders, these are the songs that they grew up on. These are the artists that they grew up listening to. You know, Patti LaBelle, Marvin Gaye, you know, all of Sam Cooke, you know, so on and so forth. And, you know, that's, you know, so for someone to say that Black Americans doesn't have any culture, it's just not real, man. You know what I mean? It's just not real. And people have to, like, what is the big deal? Like, let Black Americans have whatever they created. Because if not, you're acting like the races that stole everything from them from that time all the way up until now. You don't want them to have anything or be able to lay claim to anything exclusively. Like, this is theirs. They did this. You understand? You don't want that. And it's like, why, yo? Why? Like, it doesn't take anything away from you or anybody else to allow these people to have their own thing. You understand what I'm saying? And look at all the chitter chatter all over the internet or whatever, right? Concerning it. Because this is kind of like the last big thing that Black Americans created that people are trying to take away from them and move that away from them. You know what I mean? And so people are stepping up and speaking out about it, you know, as they should. You know, they have all rights to do that. See, because people are confused, right? Participation is different from creation. You understand what I'm saying? If you come and you see a thing already going on, even if you do great things within that thing, it still doesn't make you the creator of it. Even if you improved on it, even if you made it better, even if you added certain elements to it, you're not the creator. You're a participant in it, and you deserve your props and your glory for the contributions that you make to a thing. You understand? But you don't come into somebody's house and 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 all of a sudden everything concerning the house, you want to put yourself in the equation and say, hey, I did this, you know, or I was 50-50 with you with this, or whatever the case is, you know. Like, that's madness. That's madness. When we know for a fact, especially those of us that live in NYC, this, that, and the third, we already know that it was like a forbidden thing for Puerto Ricans to hang with blacks and at during those times. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it was a total separate thing. So it was only a few Puerto Ricans that was even allowed to hang out with the blacks and in their circle. But when they went home, they used to get it bad. You know, why are you hanging out with those Morenos or whatever they call, you know, blacks or whatever, right? Why are you hanging out with them? Why are you listening to that music or whatever the case is? And then those people begin to emulate the style of the blacks. So they started dressing different. They started talking different. You know, they was listening to different music, whatever was hip to the black people uh, during that time. They gravitated towards that. Kool Herc said himself, he wasn't playing no reggae music or no toasting or none of that. You see what I mean? What he was playing was R&B, James Brown, and all of that type of stuff. He wasn't playing no reggae music, no toasting music. He wasn't playing no Roy, no that. He wasn't playing none of that. You know what I mean? Because the people in couldn't understand it. Number one, they wasn't having that. If it was everything that Black Americans was doing and have been doing from long before he came. Like, he was playing soul music, you know, and all of that kind of stuff from American blacks that existed from, you know, the 40s, well, not probably not that late, but the 50s, 60s, you know, 70s or whatever the case. That's the music he was playing. So you cannot say that he brought anything. And then I believe that was, who was that? Was that Big Youth or no? I think that was Daddy Iroy. He said himself that the music they grew up on before anything like that was everything that the Black Americans, they used to wait at the wharf to get anything, any kind of music that was coming out of Black America. That was the thing. And that's the reality. And he's an elder. He was there before so-called hip hop, before, you know, even before the toasting and all of that became a thing. He was there. So he said himself, he was like, nah, we didn't create that. You know what I'm saying? We came, you know what I mean, or whatever, because we was into the soul music and this, that, and the third. You know, there was no creation of no hip hop. You know what I mean? And if that was the case, then the whole of Jamaica would be doing hip hop, even though dancehall is very closely related to hip hop. Nowadays, it's kind of sort of the same thing, you know, with the advent of the youth who are listening to the trap music, you know, again, and emulating the Black Americans that people like to talk so bad about. What they're doing is they're emulating the black. That's why all the music sound like the trap beats and things of that nature. You understand what I'm saying? They moved away from their original thing, which is the dance hall and reggae, and they're doing what the so-called Black Americans are doing. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what we have to realize. There's nothing wrong with the truth. The truth is just the truth. It doesn't take anything away from anybody. You know, it's just some people, they in their arrogance and in their ignorance, they don't want to see things for what it is. You know, if Tariq Nasheed puts out a whole film, Microphone Check, showing and proving certain things, and yet and still, because, and these people remind me of religious people, because religious people, most of them never read their book from front to back. They don't know what's in it, right? So that's like religious people, you know, like in denial. You know what I mean? Because I can tell a religious person something that's in their book, and I say, open up the page of the book. You know, I say, open up the page of the book, right? They open up the page of the book. Boom. They read the very thing that I'm telling them is in the book that they don't know about because they never read it, right? They read it for themselves, right? Then they would turn around and say the shit ain't there. Yeah, it's like, it's ridiculous, yo. It's like, how do you have a book, and I tell you, get your book to ensure that you know this is not a trick. I don't have a different book than what you have. Get your book and bring that to the fore, right? And we read out of I let them read it out of their own book, what the book says, and they will read it and then still deny it and still say that's not in there. I'm telling you, I've literally seen that happen like this many times. They will read it for themselves and say, no, 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 you know what I mean? This, that, and the third, you know? Because people get stuck and people want to, you know, stay in their comfort zone. When new information presents itself, you got to be willing to go with the new information as long as it can be verified or proven or whatever the case is. You can't stay stuck in the old shit. You know what I mean? When there's a greater truth that has come to replace the truth that you thought you knew. That's called growth. You understand? But most people, they're stuck, you know, and they have this arrogance about themselves that they don't want to admit nothing. If it contradicts what they think they know, even with proof, they're still in denial. They'll say it doesn't exist, you know, so on and so forth, you know. And then, you know, and then when they cannot, like, when they know they can't debate you because they clearly see that you brought facts, right? When they can't debate you, then they resort to slander. That's a usual tactic of immature, uninformed people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna start name calling, or they'll do a diversion. They'll change the subject without completing, you know, the build. You know, y'all building on something, but without completing the build because they see they don't have no win, they'll change the subject and go to something else. That's a clear indication that the person is not prepared for the dialogue. They're not prepared for the truths that spoke. They don't know how to counter it or whatever the case is, and so on and so forth. So, like I said, they'll resort to either diversion or slander. You know, you have some people, you reveal some things to them and they ready to fight. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, don't you want to know the truth? Don't you want to know the truth? Or you're just stuck in a mode because you've been told something for so long that now it's a part of your belief system, And here's something that clearly shows that what you've been taught is not right and exact, and that you need to change a few things with that. You understand? A part of growth is being able to accept new information, new verifiable information. You understand? And once you have verifiable information, you receive it and you just keep moving. On the next quest or the next journey for a truth. You know, because I always feel like none of us have the absolute truth. So I call these truths a truth. You see what I mean? Because many things could be true yesterday that's not true today. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just based on study, research, science, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. It can disprove something that you thought was true yesterday. You understand what I'm saying? So that is it, people. This is Balance Up TV. Do remember to like and subscribe. And yeah, we're going to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Balance Up. We're talking to real people about real things in real time. That is it.